That's it for us in Mammoth. Back to you guys in the studio.
Jody, thank you so very much. Andrew Young, author of The Politician and former aide to John Edwards, has been ordered to turn over a videotape which he says shows Edwards and Riel Hunter having sex. Less than an hour ago, a North Carolina judge ruled Young is in contempt of court, but will not jail him if by Wednesday he turns over the tape and the personal photos belonging to Hunter. John Edwards was still running for president when he began his affair with Riel Hunter, the videographer working for his campaign. They basically met at a bar. At the time, his wife Elizabeth had been told her breast cancer was back and that it was terminal. Yet Edwards continued his presidential campaign and his relationship with Riel Hunter, who was pregnant with his baby. Edwards denied the affair at first. Later, he denied the child was his. Both obviously were lies.
You can't make this stuff up.
The mainstream media was not interested in the story even after the first reports appeared in the National Enquirer. It was only after the Enquirer had photographic proof that the story exploded and Edwards admitted to the affair. Rick Egusquiza is the reporter who broke the story, and Mr. Egusquiza continues to report the follow-ups. How am I doing?
You did great.
Okay.
Good morning.
Were you even surprised to hear there was a sex tape? I mean, you knew the story was pretty sleazy, but...
Well, yeah, we did a story about the sex tape back then, so we knew about it. We didn't see it, but yeah, I mean, it can't get any worse. A sex tape is John's worst nightmare, and Elizabeth's.
Were you at the Beverly Hotel?
At the hotel.
I wasn't. My coworkers were there. It was a team effort, but coworkers were there, and Alan Butterfield was actually the reporter who busted John Edwards going into the bathroom, running, scared, you know.
And here's John Edwards running away from an Enquirer reporter.
Crazy, huh?
And ran into the bathroom and shut the door and didn't want to come.
Did not want to come out.
He had nothing to say at this point.
No, there was nothing to say. He was caught red-handed, pretty much.
And how did you know at the Enquirer about the story when nobody else knew?
Well, I mean, we do what you guys do. I mean, we report, and we got the first. Well, I got the first initial tip in 2007 about emails between Riel and a friend describing her affair with a married politician, and we followed that up, and
so it didn't come from anybody in the Edwards camp. It came
no,
from
everyone thinks that Riel's feeding us info. I mean, that stuff's crazy.
Not
true. I've never talked to Riel. I would love to talk to Riel. If she's out there watching, please call us.
You've done some stories on her that make her appear kind of nutty.
Yeah, not just us. I mean, the two books that are out there right now. I mean, she's a little spiritual. You know, she's a little wacky.
I like spiritual, but
yeah,
wacky.
So do I. Yeah, but you know, there are the reports out there about her going in and checking out the vibe of the room, and you know, demanding to change the room and stuff like that. And I mean, a little wacky.
Yeah, you know, the National Enquirer doesn't get a lot of respect from a lot of people who think it's just tabloid. But when you break a story like this, did you at one point think, you know, this is going to change the way people view the
I never
magazine?
thought that, but I mean, I knew when I got that initial tip, this could be big. I mean, he was running for president at the time. So I knew it was big. I, you know, put over a lead. I got approved, and we just worked it. It was a team effort with our editor, Barry Levine, in New York.
And obviously there was a difference here, because the Enquirer does print a lot of stuff that's, I don't know if it's made up or what, you exaggerate. Okay, fair enough. This one, the commitment was made to put the manpower, the resources, the money behind it.
Yeah.
And when Barry Levine made this decision, did he know you had gold, or did he suspect you had gold?
Well, we're always skeptical. I mean, it wasn't just one source. The first initial story, we didn't even name Riel Hunter, because, you know, we were sure, but, you know, she was a private citizen at that time. But, yeah, we put all the effort into it, and it paid off big time. The initial story brought more sources forward, and I mean, we knew we were on something.
And think about this. I mean, you know, yeah, on one level, this is gossip about celebrities. On the other is...
He's running for president.
This is the United States of America, and this guy could have been president or vice president or attorney general.
And not just the affair. Okay, that's, you know, an affair is an affair. But the money to cover up, there's a grand jury investigation going on right now because of our reporting. So that's huge.
I have a question. Yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I've said this to Dorothy several times. What if you, the Enquirer, you, that team, were around when John Kennedy was president? What would have happened?
You would have been busy.
Yeah, times have changed. I mean...
Would it have destroyed his presidency? Probably.
Probably, yeah. I mean, back then, I mean, an affair would have probably ruined him.
And the press protected the president. A lot of them knew it. And yet his is a beloved presidency. That we all, most people share the good feelings about it. And yet, on many levels, it's far more scandalous than any presidency.
Yeah. I mean, my parents had pictures of Kennedy up on the wall.
Sure.
But not with women.
No.
But you would have had those. Yeah. According to the book Game Change, when the story first appeared in the Enquirer, that's when John told Elizabeth about it, and he said to her it was a one-night stand. But when the picture appeared, the mainstream media was completely ignoring the
Right.
story. But when the picture appeared, he knew.
Right. Up
he
until
called a
then.
friend and said, "I'm cooked."
Right. Up until then, I mean, he had to make an announcement. He waited till Friday night, went on Nightline, and said he had a one-night affair.
Right.
And we knew
Which is
that.
apparently what he told his wife, too.
Right.
And
right.
the timing was such that it couldn't be his child. That's what he said.
Right, that's what he said. I mean, and that's coming back to haunt him, obviously. I mean, and we knew all along. I mean, you know, the DNA test was done, it was performed. They were working out financial arrangements with her lawyers, Riel Hunter's, and his lawyers. And, you know, I mean, it's just, I mean, if it wasn't true, nobody would believe it.
When you guys caught him at the hotel, were you stalking him? Did you know at some point he would probably go visit the baby?
Yeah, we had a tip. We had a good tip, and we followed up on it. We, you know, we hung out. We, you know, we do what we do. We were there, watched her arrive, watched him arrive, and waited.
Were you shocked when the media was ignoring this story? Because here's this guy running for president, and he's got a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And let me add to that. A lot of conservatives and Republicans say, well, sure, he's a liberal Democrat, so the mainstream media is going to leave him alone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speculate, but of course they, you know, the right wing probably wanted him to get a little further in the campaign.
They wanted him to go further and then implode.
Of course.
Yeah, sure.
Then they would have loved Obama to probably pick him as vice president.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think is the real story between John and Elizabeth? I read a lot of stories and some of these books that say she is a monster, and that's not how we think of her.
Yeah, I mean, what we've reported are just, you know, the facts that we know from our sources. But, I mean, these other books are going on and saying a lot of inside stuff about her during the campaign.
How rough she
Yeah, and they've got good sources. Some of them are on the record. So, I mean, we stick by our reporting. I mean, you know, she knew at a certain point about the affair,
Do you
about
think
the
there
baby.
were other affairs, and did she know about it? Andrew Young has suggested that.
Yeah, he
that John
suggested
had a
that. I
couple of
mean,
affairs
we
that
haven't
she knew.
reported that, so I can't say if there were other affairs.
All right, on to the other story, I believe is your byline, the John hit me story from Elizabeth.
Right, our current story right now that's out there. Yeah, they had, I mean, their fights, you can imagine, got very, very heated. I mean, there were some major confrontations, and at one point he lost his temper, and he punched her in the ribs. Our source passed the polygraph test, and this is coming from an insider that is, you know, directly from
Oh,
Elizabeth.
yeah, who's that?
Wow.
Well, hold on, let me check what else to tell you.
Don't reveal sources,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you believe
Wow.
this to be true?
Oh, yeah, definitely, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we've been right all along. Why would we go?
Now he is extreme. This situation is extreme. No one's ever going to trust this guy again. All his slickness is going to look even more slick. But so many people running for office have stories like that. Not maybe that bad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, who else? I'm thinking he knows.
Yeah, well, I mean, this one, you can't top this, I don't think. I mean, it's going to be a long time before somebody tops
Mr.
this.
Egusquiza.
Even the Clintons?
Thank you so much.
Steve,
Thank you for
appreciate it.
coming in.
Thank you, George.
Next, Elizabeth was outside Charlie Sheen's gated community with an update on what happened with the stolen car that went over the side of Mulholland. From Bravo's top chef, Stephen Richter is here with Super Bowl party tips and his special